Welcome to a Sugar Bee Cookies mini tutorial. Today we are going to be decorating our Bumblebee kit. So inside the box you should have royal icing transfers. These are our little bee wings that we're going to attach later. A cookie or bumblebee, and it's going to have some marks on it to help us guide our way. This is just done with edible marker, nothing to be concerned about. You will have a needle tool or skewer. This is going to help us move our icing around. And then you will have a yellow and a black icing. Now, when you get your kit, you may notice some discoloration in the icing, like there. That is completely normal when the icing sits for a little bit or goes through temperature changes. These icings will be good for about 5 days after your purchase, as they are. If you get your kit, you can automatically put it in the freezer for up to 3 months. You can also store your leftover icing in the freezer for up to 3 months after you use this. And what you're seeing me do here is just massage the bag, and I'm kind of just remixing that icing back together. The discoloration is just simply the water molecules pulling away from the color and the sugar, and we're just kind of remixing it a bit. You will also need a little pair of scissors so that we can cut our icing bags, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So in each icing bag we have a seam. I don't know if you can see it in this light. You want that at the top of your bag down the middle. And then we're going to push the icing away from the tip. We're going to pinch that tip off. We're just going to cut a little bit off. Now that icing is fairly loose, so it may ooze out a bit, so be careful. And then we're going to do it with our other color too. You can see I'm not cutting very much off. It's always easier to go and cut more if you need to. But because this is a thin down icing, you may see it ooze onto the table a little bit. You don't want that hole very big. Go ahead and unwrap your cookie. These cookies will be safe to eat and nice and fresh and soft for up to a couple of weeks as they come in the package. You can also freeze your cookies for up to 3 months. The whole kit can be frozen for 3 months. We're going to keep these aside for now. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to grab my little needle tool because that's going to help us, is we are going to pipe and fill in the head. So all I'm doing is just squeezing in with my hand a little bit. You can see it's already coming out. And I'm going to follow that circle as best I can. And I'm going to show you here. Don't worry so much about following the line, because when we fill this, we can push that line out a little bit. So it's always better to go a little bit inside the line. And we're going to squeeze slowly, and we're going to fill that. I'm going to take my little needle tool. I'm just going to do these little stirring motions. And this is what I meant by I can push out that line and cover it up. Okay. The next part we're going to do is we're going to fill in his body, but we're going to let that sit for a couple of minutes. So I'll come back in a moment and we'll continue. You want to let this sit for about 5 minutes. And that's going to allow this to kind of start drying a little bit. So when we put the yellow against it, it's not going to all just bleed together. Okay, so I've let that sit for a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to take my yellow And we're going to carefully start squeezing along that line right next to that head. You want to go slow, and I'm barely squeezing. This icing is very loose, so it's going to do the work for you. And you can see I haven't quite connected it to the head because that just allowed me to come in with my needle tool and kind of connect it up if I need to. All right, now we're going to fill this. I'm going to turn this so you can see it a little bit easier along here, but I'm going to just start squeezing. I'm stepping out a little away from the head. You can see the space there. That's where I'm squeezing from, because when it squeezes, it pushes outwards. And then we're going to go in and we're going to fill the whole body. And just slowly working my way around. Now, if you end up with big gaps like this, that's not a problem. The icing is going to keep leveling out. You can go in and you can kind of fill them as well. Or you can take your little needle tool. Make sure you don't have any black on it. Wipe it off with a cloth as you need to. You can take your little needle tool and do that little stirring motion. You're not scraping the cookie itself, you're just going in the icing. And you're fixing it. And if you have edges that you don't like, you just do that little stirring motion and push that icing outwards a little bit. You can tap down any little peaks you have, fix anything with this little tool. Now, while this is still wet, we're going to take our black and we're going to create some stripes for our bee. I wouldn't really try and do more than 3. It's not needed. And if you need to drag the icing to the edge a bit, go ahead. Because both icings are wet, this is going to melt into each other. It's going to be like a wet on wet, and it's going to be one flat, smooth surface. And our little bee needs a stinger. So I'm going to draw a little line, and then I'm going to use my needle tool, and I'm just going to pull that out to a point to give them a little stinger. And we need little antennas. So we're going to just create a couple of little curly Q lines. And if you want to add any details, you can do a little dollop. How cute is that? But he's missing his wings. So take your wings. Now these are fragile, so be careful. And we're going to add just a little bit of icing. Oh, I'm going to block up my back. There we go. We're going to add just a little bit of extra icing. Doesn't need a lot. You're going to place the wing, and it's going to sit right on a little bit on the body. You're going to press it down a little bit. And there you go. You've made a little bee. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a beautiful day.